with me coming through Zoom. I'm going to kick this on the FM. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. My name is Gardy. This is Kickstart, and I have a special guest who is zooming in from the EOC in Marque, Texas. Good morning, Tink Jackson. How are you?
A little bit tired, Gardy, but we're doing good. How are you this morning?
Yes, sir. So where are you at right now?
We're in the Emergency Operations Center at the Central Fire Station here on the west side in Marque.
Okay. So what's been going on specifically in the city of Marque with the citizens? There's a lot of infrastructure news going on. Can you kind of give us an update?
Sure. Of course, as everybody knows, with Winter Storm Uri, we've had some significant power failures across the state of Texas and here as well. We do believe this morning that we are about 98 to 99% return power. So there may still be a few individual outages, but the group outages right now, we do not have any. CenterPoint is telling us that they are back at 100%. Texas New Mexico Power is telling us that they are noting that there are still some individual outages, and if people still have the power off in their homes, we need to get those people in contact with Texas New Mexico Power to schedule somebody to come out and help them get back on. But we should be very close to being back to full power right now. That's a good thing. I know we had a lot of our citizens that have been out since 2 a.m. on Monday morning. We had a number of subdivisions or circuits that lost at different times, came back on. Some were out the whole time, some were out part of it. We had a few that were fortunate that didn't lose power at all during the event. But right now, power-wise, we're looking pretty good. We need everybody to realize that we don't produce our power, we use our power. And the areas in Texas where that power is being produced are still, in some of those areas, it's still snowing. There's still one more winter storm. There was a 3-storm event. The 3rd storm is coming through there right now. We'll be through today, tonight, and tomorrow. So there is still the potential for us to see some losses if they have to cut the grid back again. So what we can do to try to help prevent that is to make sure that we're conserving as much energy as we can so that we're not overloading the circuit and keeping that our usage low. So we're asking everybody to set their thermostats, at a maximum of 68, a little bit lower if you're comfortable doing that. We know everybody's been without power for a while, and I think when it came, based on the timing when it came back on, everybody's probably got their homes warmed back up now, which would have been a big drain on power. But let's not try to get everything else caught up today either. If you can wait till after the weekend to wash clothes, those things that are large uses, let's try to keep those to a minimum until the storm's over and we make sure that we don't have to see any outages again.
So I got a text message from the city of Marque because I signed up for updates, and that's a great thing to do because I will say the city of Marque in Galveston County is probably the best city as being transparent from what I've noticed from this entire event, giving constant updates through social media, through text messages, through Facebook, however people get their information. How important is that to be transparent, giving information, and if people have questions, who do they reach out to?
Well, we've tried to get out as much information as we can, all along the course of this, and we're going to continue to do that because we're a long ways from being done. We got a lot of infrastructure damage from this storm, and we're starting to work on that this morning. But anybody has any questions, check our website first. We try to get all our information on our website as quick as we can. Social media, if they don't have access to that, we have the general number at Public Works, and we'll make sure that we get that general number up for everyone to see. We have had people answering that phone 24 hours a day since it started. We have multiple people actually answering that phone since this event has started. So if you have a water line broke at your home and you need your water service cut off so you can get it fixed, that's the number that you need to call. Those kind of things. And we're going to see a lot of that as we continue to thaw out. There's going to be broken water lines everywhere. This part of Texas is not built for a deep, hard freeze like what we saw. And we still have 2 more nights below freezing coming. Tonight and tomorrow night, we're going to see temperatures dip below freezing again. So we're still not through with this. But those general things related to water or wastewater, call that general number at Public Works, and let's use that number. We have the non-emergency number at the PD if they have other needs. And by all means, if you're in a medical emergency or you're having something, don't hesitate to use 911 for those major medical issues if you have one.
Okay, so what's going on with the water pressure right now? My sister lives in Lamarck, my parents live in Lamarck, and I've been checking in with them, and they said right now there's not really much water pressure. What's going on?
So a couple of things happen there. We get our water from the Gulf Coast Water Authority, as well as a number of other cities in Galveston County and all along the line. And us in Galveston, of course, are the last two major users on the end of that line. What we believe happened was that when the infrastructure started failing, there were some problems with some pumps there, and then we started having failures in the system above us, and basically like what we have going on here. We have cities with main lines that are broke, and it was too much demand on the system, and the system lost pressure. So Gulf Coast started telling all the cities, hey, we need to start getting repairs done. We don't have, to make sure we're pumping, we're able to supply to everybody. We see that that's starting to come back now. Yesterday, of course, we, as far as I know, we were the only city that actually had the power to our wastewater treatment plant cut off. Now we had the power to our water intake cut off first. We had two generators that we'd put on reserve for the event. Neither one of those functioned properly. We had to go to the wastewater treatment plant and take our generator from the wastewater treatment plant and move it to our water intake to make sure that our citizens had water. And a few hours after we got the water back online, they cut off the power to our wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, who makes that decision?
We brought in another generator from out of state. Land and Sea drove overnight to go get us another generator so we could get the wastewater treatment plant back online, which we did yesterday. During the course of that time, we also started working our wells. We have backup wells that we normally do not use. They're for emergencies. They were all frozen up, and the lines on those had froze as well. So we started working on those. We got the wells online yesterday, and then as things started thawing out overnight, we got the pressure building back up, and then the pressure kind of seemed to start to drop off again. We have a 12-inch main that's broke, that busted, the frozen broke. We have a crew out there working on that right now, so we're going to see reduced water pressure until we get that 12-inch main fixed. Once we get that 12-inch main fixed, the pressure will start to pick up again because we'll have both Gulf Coast and our wells supplying the system, and that'll help us get our pressure back up until we get everything fixed and get everybody back to full service. We have to remember that downstream from us, Galveston is still not at full pressure in Galveston off of Gulf Coast either. They've got, I talked to the city manager there a few minutes ago. It sounds like they're at about 50% there. They're trying to maintain that 50% so they can keep the hospitals open. They don't want to have to close the hospitals in Galveston again. So we're trying to do everything we can to help make sure that we don't have those hospitals closed, because we know we have people who need those hospitals too. So we're working with Galveston, going to keep utilizing our wells and try to make sure that we get the pressure built back up some. The repair of this 12-inch main that'll happen sometime in the next few hours, that's going to make a big difference.
So you mentioned that Lamarck was the only city that had the power shut off to the wastewater treatment facility. Who is it that's making that decision? Because I've heard a lot about ERCOT, never heard of them before in my life, and then I hear, CenterPoint, everybo's pointing fingers. But who makes that decision that the power gets shut off to Lamarck's wastewater treatment facility?
Well, that's a great question, Guardian. I think there will be a lot of people trying to get all the answers to all those questions for a while after this is over. We did have contact with Texas, New Mexico throughout this. I never heard anything from CenterPoint during this. We made phone calls to them and never got any calls back, but we had continuous contact with Texas, New Mexico. Our understanding is, our energy providers are at the mercy of ERCOT, and ERCOT was the one that made all the decisions to cut the power when they did. We're gonna learn a lot more about how our power grid in Texas works in the next few months. I think I understand what happened, and the reality was there was more demand than there was supply, and if they wouldn't have cut off what they did when they did, we probably would have lost the entire grid. And I know it was difficult for everybody to get through the storm with this, but the reality is we could have been in the same boat, having to get through the storm and being weeks after before they would have been able to make the repairs if they had burned the grid. It was terrible planning. When you start relying on green energy as much as we have, and it turns to a blizzard and there's no sun and there's no wind, well, then green energy, obviously we saw doesn't work the way everybody had anticipated. So we're going to have to make some decisions at a state level about our energy reliance and what we rely on to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't ever happen again.
Okay, so we were talking about the water pressure a bit before that. Can we talk about the boil water notices and that's been put out?
Sure. Then that's us and everybody else in Texas right now. We're required by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Anytime our pressures will go below a certain point, that burn notice has to go out. And basically what that's saying is when you reduce it, there's a chance for bacteria to enter the system. When we start using our wells, immediately that burn notice or that boil notice would have had to have gone out also as well. So until we get pressures built back up and we get up above the required levels and maintain them for a period of 12 hours and can test the water, then that boil notice will have to stay in place. And we also had a lot of questions last night about the discolored water because we had some discolored water that came out of the wells. Anytime you utilize groundwater as a water source, you have discolored water. The city I came from before I was here was entirely groundwater, and that water was, it was discolored all the time. The color in it's not going to hurt you. We don't want to extensively use it. Nobody's supposed to be drinking the water coming out of the tap right now anyway without boiling it, and it'll settle out when it's boiled. But we're hoping to have the pressures restored as quick as we can. We're going to have them restored as quick as we humanly can get it restored. And then once we get there and we can get the system tested, we should be past that. But until then, we will remain under a boil water notice.
Yeah, and I had a question for myself because I got the notice, hey, you need to boil the water. And I'm like, well, what do I need to boil the water for? Is it safe to shower or bathe my kids? Is it, just not safe to drink? Do we have any clarification on that?
It's definitely not safe to drink. I would, they tell you not to use it for anything. You can use, I would like not sit in a bathtub full of that water. But getting a washcloth wet and taking a military style sponge bath, I'm sure you would be okay with that. Once it's boiled, because you've already boiled. Once you boil that, you can use that water for that. But I would, until we get a chance to stabilize the pressures, I would not shower or sit in a bathtub full of that water.
Okay, so another question. Earlier we were talking about how it's going to get colder. There's some more storm stuff coming through and some more freezing temperatures. With everything that Lamarque is dealing with the water pressure, should the citizens look to drip those pipes so they don't have any more busted pipes or hold off on that, or is it at their discretion?
Yeah, everybody's dripping pipes right now. That's, of course, reducing. That's continuing the reduction in the pressure. We're looking at about the last report I looked at this morning said for tonight, we're looking at a low somewhere between 28 and 30 and probably about the same tomorrow night. With the wind chill, the air will be a little bit colder than that. So if that pipe is directly exposed to the wind, we can do some more work today. We've got sun today. It's not raining. If you have pipes that are exposed, let's try to wrap them with towels or wrap them with something where we can insulate them so that we're not having to worry about that drip, so that we're not busting any more pipes, but we're not reducing our pressure as well.
Okay, so going forward, citizens, what should they be doing, or what can we expect?
Okay, so a couple of things that we started this morning that we're talking about a lot this morning. We do realize, of course, we're telling everybody to boil water. Yesterday, that was very difficult because most people didn't have power. So if you don't have power, how are you supposed to boil the water? Right. We think we got the power situation for now, at least is resolved, or is at least is steady. So we can be boiling water right now and utilizing that. We have star requests into the Texas Department of Emergency Management for drinking water. We spoke to them about an hour ago. And we're hoping that they will have one semi of drinking water headed this way today, hopefully. And then we also spoke to the Red Cross, and we're trying to get some additional water through the Red Cross. And there's also another star request that was put in by the county for some water to be brought in. And we're hearing that there's two C-130 transport planes that they're going to try to get in with water for Galveston and Galveston County that maybe be showing up sometime today too. So once we get that in, we'll try to get some stations set up here in town, and we'll let everybody know where they're going to be, where they can come by and grab a case or two of bottled water for their homes, so that they have drinking water and have water to cook with, and won't have to boil if they don't want to boil water. Okay. We have about 300 services that somewhere north of 300 services right now that we know we have disconnected because those people had broken lines. If you have a broken line, call us. We'll come and get your meter turned off so you can get the repair made. As soon as you get the repair made, then we'll get your service turned back on so we can get your water back on in your house. But if you have leaks, make sure you let us know so that we can get that service turned off so that we're not losing additional water pressure there as well. We are waiving anybody. You have to have a permit, of course, to fix those pipes. We're waiving those permit fees right now so you can get the permit to fix it. And so we can try to get people repaired as fast as we can. The contractors that we have coming in, the 12-inch line that's broke, we don't have the equipment to fix that 12-inch line. So we have a contractor headed in. Well, they should be here already working on that line. Once we get them done, we're going to look at any other major infrastructure problems we have. Size-wise, we'll go from 12-inch lines to 10-inch lines to 8-inch lines to 6-inch lines, and we're going to get there. We're going to keep them here, repairing lines. We did have a couple of sewer line main trunk lines that also collapsed. They froze and collapsed. We have another contractor coming in to start working on those. And so we'll get some more stuff fixed with those, but we'll have crews out. We've got people all over town trying to spot water leaks, trying to get those leaks turned off. So water wise, we're gonna get the system back in place. We're trying to get drinking water here as fast as we can to be distributed to everybody. And we'll keep working that way. We also did one other thing I want to talk about. 2 days ago, I guess 2 days ago here at the Emergency Management Center, we started another project as well, where we started trying to reach out and make physical or verbal contact with all of our seniors here in town. We all saw the report out of Galveston about the potential that they were finding. They were finding people who had died during the storm because of exposure, or because they didn't have the necessary medical supplies they need. Our fire and EMS department has run themselves ragged in the last 4 days with calls from people who lost power and either had a breathing machine or had an oxygen tanks in their home, and they were starting to have breathing problems because they had ran out of air. So in response to seeing that, we just started reaching out to everybody that was over 60 that we could come up with on some sort of list that we could put together, and we came up with some big lists, and we started making physical contact or verbal contact with every one of them. We also started a campaign on social media that was basically a check on your neighbor campaign. So we're asking everybody, if you have anybody around you that lives, your next door neighbor, whatever, if they're elderly or if they have a medical condition, and please check on them. And if you try to check on them and you can't get in contact with them, please let us know so that we can go make sure we make contact. I think we went through about 300 names the first day, and I think we got through about 500 more yesterday. And they're still working on that right now, so we can make sure we make contact with all of them and make sure that their medical needs are being met. We're really trying to focus on them right now and make sure that we're getting them what they need. The power coming back on obviously is going to be a huge help with that today. But everybody needs to remember there is potential that we could lose power again over the next 48 or so hours based on this storm, and we need to prepare for that just in case. It's not like we're not saying it's going to happen, but there is a possibility, and so we all need to be prepared for that as well.
So here's a comment that I wanted to read. This is from Tamara. She said, can you shout out Joseph Lowry and family for offering free meals at 12:30 for anyone? That's today at the corner of Lake and Cedar. And I saw that they were out there doing yesterday, and the mayor was out there as well. You mentioned Land and Sea, a local Lamarque company making the drive so that way we can get power to the wastewater treatment facility. And I've seen numerous citizens volunteering and helping their neighbors, not just in Lamarque, but across the county and across the state. It's good to see. And I'm sure you've seen that as well, Mr. Jackson, the citizens just stepping up and checking on people and offering food and helping.
Oh no, obviously, yeah. Mr. Lowry has been a rock star with his hot dog service over there, and I'm glad to see that they're doing it again today. And I know the first day, I heard a lot of comments about how quickly people were showing up over there because people needed something warm to eat and they didn't have power. And so, he definitely filled the need. And I know we had some people working with the food bank, and we've had people working all over the place trying to help people get a warm meal and do whatever they could do to help. Our citizens have done a great job of this. I know we have a bunch of people that are frustrated. It's been frustrating for everybody in Texas, not just for us. But I think after that original frustration ended, I think everybody just put their heads together and started doing stuff. And our citizens have done a great job of helping each other. And we still need that. We're not done yet. We still need some of that. And so we really appreciate everybody that is doing stuff to help out.
Yes, sir. Is there anything else you'd like to share this morning?
No, I think that's it, Gardy. Again, non-emergency calls. We've got that number for Public Works. It's up everywhere. We'll get it out again today, this morning. We have people answering that phone 24 hours a day. If you have a leak, let us know so we can get your service cut off until it can get fixed. on your, if you have a leak in your house or on your property, let's get that turned off so we can help build the pressure back up, not only for us, but so we can help our neighbors in Galveston and make sure we keep our hospital open. That's kind of important today. That's our focus, is trying to get that water system fixed and back up and reliable. That's the next focus right now.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for making some time this morning. I appreciate you, and everybody at the City of La Marque as well.
All right. Thanks, Gardy. Thanks.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. All right, social media, y'all share this out. If y'all have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to someone with the city, or even ask on this stream. The City of La Marque is very responsive from what I've been witnessing, and even asking questions myself. So y'all have a blessed